The mysterious 3 a.m. wake-up call, what your body and soul are trying to tell you. Have you ever found yourself suddenly wide awake at 3 a.m., heart racing, with an inexplicable feeling that something important is happening? What if those mysterious early morning awakenings weren't just random sleep disturbances, but actually meaningful messages your body and soul are desperately trying to deliver? What if I told you that ancient spiritual traditions across cultures have recognized this exact time window between 3 and 5 a.m. as a sacred portal when the veil between worlds thins and your deepest truths rise to the surface? And what if these pre-dawn wake-up calls aren't something to fight against, but rather a powerful invitation to transformation that most people completely miss by rolling over and forcing themselves back to sleep? For centuries, this mysterious window of time between 3 and 5 a.m. has been recognized as something far more significant than just a sleep disturbance. It's been called the spiritual hour, the divine hour, and even the hour of awakening across various traditions. When you suddenly jolt awake during these hours, heart beating faster than normal, thoughts racing while the world around you remains perfectly still, you're experiencing something that connects you to seekers, mystics, and spiritual practitioners throughout human history. This isn't just your body betraying you or your sleep cycle malfunctioning. In fact, many ancient cultures, spiritual traditions, and even modern scientific research agree that something uniquely powerful happens during this pre-dawn window, something most people completely overlook or actively resist. Monks rise at this hour to meditate. Creative geniuses throughout history have experienced their most profound breakthroughs during these quiet hours. And there's a reason why you might feel something stirring inside you, something you can't quite explain but somehow feels significant. Here's what no one tells you. Waking up during this hour can be a signal, a message from your body, a whisper from the universe, or a gentle nudge from your higher self. And if you keep ignoring it, reaching for your phone, checking the time with frustration, or forcing yourself back to sleep, you might be missing one of the most important opportunities for growth and transformation in your life. In this video, you're going to discover 3 powerful practices you should implement if you ever find yourself awake during this sacred hour. These aren't your typical drink some water and count sheep recommendations. These are deeper, more meaningful approaches rooted in both neuroscience and ancient wisdom that can transform these mysterious awakenings from frustrating interruptions into profound opportunities for clarity, peace, and purpose. These practices have helped thousands of people not only improve their sleep, but actually harness this special time to create breakthrough insights, emotional healing, and spiritual connection. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll share one final secret about this hour that most people never realize, something that could fundamentally change how you view your entire life journey. This isn't just another sleep tips video, it's a wake-up call in the deepest sense. So the next time you find yourself staring at the ceiling in those early morning hours, don't just roll over in frustration. Sit up, take a deep breath, and remember, you're not alone, you're not broken, and you're not experiencing a random sleep disturbance. You're being called, What you choose to do next could change everything. Before we explore the 3 powerful practices you should implement when you wake up between 3 and 5 a.m., it's essential to understand why this phenomenon occurs in the first place. Rest assured, you're far from alone in this experience. Millions of people worldwide wake up during this exact same window of time. It's remarkably common, and it's not simply about having consumed too much caffeine or experiencing a bad dream. There's something much deeper happening beneath the surface. From a scientific perspective, this experience is intimately connected to your body's internal clock, what researchers call the circadian rhythm. During the 3 to 5 a.m. window, your body undergoes a natural transition. Your core body temperature reaches its lowest point. Your melatonin levels begin their gradual decline. Meanwhile, cortisol, the hormone that helps prepare your body for wakefulness, starts its slow rise in preparation for the day ahead. For many people, especially those with sensitive nervous systems, this hormonal shift is sufficient to disrupt sleep patterns. If your mind is already processing stress, anxiety, or unresolved concerns, this natural transition can easily jolt you into full wakefulness. But that's merely one dimension of this fascinating phenomenon, because beyond the realm of biology and hormones lies another perspective embraced by spiritual traditions worldwide. Many cultures and spiritual teachings consider this time sacred and significant. Some refer to it as the spiritual hour, while others call it the witching hour or the divine hour. Regardless of terminology, the fundamental concept remains consistent. This window between 3 and 5 a.m. is widely believed to be when the boundary between the physical and spiritual realms becomes most permeable. During these hours, the world falls into profound silence. The collective energy becomes remarkably still. And within that stillness, your inner voice, often drowned out by the noise and demands of daily life, suddenly becomes much more audible and clear. This is precisely why ancient sages chose this time for their deepest meditations. It's when the most heartfelt prayers were traditionally offered. Many spiritual traditions teach that this is when the universe attempts to communicate with you most directly while the distractions of the waking world are temporarily suspended. Have you noticed how your dreams often seem most vivid and meaningful during these pre-dawn hours? Or perhaps you've experienced sudden emotional releases or insights that seem to arrive from nowhere. In traditional Chinese medicine, this time period corresponds specifically with the lung meridian, an energy pathway connected to grief processing and emotional release. If you're carrying unprocessed emotions or spiritual tensions within you, they frequently surface during this window when your defenses are naturally lowered. You might wake up feeling surprisingly alert and clear-headed, not because something is wrong with your sleep, but because something within you is actively seeking expression and acknowledgement. Perhaps it's a forgotten aspiration, a buried fear that needs addressing, or simply a profound truth you've been avoiding in your waking hours. Waking during this time doesn't necessarily indicate disrupted sleep patterns. Sometimes it suggests that your spirit is fully awake and attempting to communicate something vital. While contemporary science points to hormones, sleep cycles, and metabolic patterns to explain these awakenings. Spiritual traditions throughout history have consistently pointed to deeper purposes, calling, destiny, and transformation. So perhaps the real question isn't simply, why am I awake? But rather, what am I being called to hear or understand in this moment? Because once you recognize this time for what many traditions believe it truly is, not a problem to solve but a potential doorway to insight, everything about your relationship to these awakenings begins to transform. That's when the true power of this hour starts to reveal itself in your life. Let's examine more closely what modern science tells us about waking between 3 and 5 in the morning. While the spiritual interpretations offer profound meaning, there's also a fascinating biological narrative unfolding behind the scenes, one that begins with stress responses, anxiety patterns, and your body's intricate chemical processes. When you fall asleep, your body doesn't simply shut down operations. Rather, it engages in a highly sophisticated and organized process. Your brain cycles through distinct stages: light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. REM, rapid eye movement, sleep is particularly significant. It's when most dreaming occurs and when your brain exhibits its highest activity levels, processing emotions and consolidating memories. This REM stage typically begins several hours after falling asleep and often reaches its peak intensity during the early morning hours. Yes, precisely between 3 and 5 a.m. This is where stress plays a crucial role in these awakenings. When you're experiencing pressure or emotional tension, your brain never fully disengages its vigilance functions. Even while you're ostensibly sleeping, your nervous system maintains the heightened state of alert. This can create disruptions specifically during REM sleep, making you significantly more likely to wake up during these critical processing periods. Research consistently demonstrates that individuals with anxiety disorders or elevated cortisol levels tend to experience earlier morning awakenings than others, often during this exact 3 to 5 a.m. window. Cortisol, commonly known as the stress hormone, follows a distinct daily rhythm, naturally rising in the early morning hours to prepare your body for daytime activities. However, if your cortisol levels spike prematurely, perhaps triggered by a worry or concern embedded in your subconscious, that unexpected rise can trigger an early awakening. You might not even consciously feel anxious or panicked, yet your body is already physiologically preparing for a fight or flight response long before sunrise. Working alongside cortisol, adrenaline can also become activated during these hours. It's an integral component of your body's emergency response system. If you've experienced a nightmare, encountered a disturbing thought in your dreams, or are processing an unresolved issue weighing on your mind, your body might release a subtle surge of adrenaline in response. This biochemical reaction can instantly transform peaceful sleep into sudden alertness. Your heart rate increases, your mind activates, and you find yourself wide awake despite the early hour. Another frequently overlooked factor is blood glucose regulation. If you consume food late at night or eat sugary snacks before bedtime, your blood sugar levels can experience the significant drop during the early morning hours. When this occurs, your body interprets it as a potential emergency requiring immediate attention. It responds by releasing stress hormones to elevate your energy levels. And this hormonal spike can effectively jolt you into wakefulness. The awakening isn't triggered by hunger sensations, but rather by your body working intensively to re-establish metabolic balance. This delicate interplay of hormones, emotional processing, and physiological triggers creates perfect conditions for awakening between 3 and 5 a.m. If you've been navigating challenging life circumstances, even a minor imbalance in these systems can disrupt your sleep patterns without warning or apparent cause. So while these early awakenings may seem random or inexplicable, they're often your body's response to something very real, something it's actively trying to process, manage, or protect you from, all occurring before the external world has even begun its day. While science illuminates the physical mechanisms of these awakenings, spiritual traditions across cultures offer profound insights into their deeper significance for the soul. When it comes to waking between 3 and 5 a.m., spiritual teachings from diverse backgrounds share a remarkable consensus. This time period is extraordinary and sacred, the unique window when the universe achieves a special quietude that allows your innermost voice to emerge with unusual clarity. It's when the distractions of daily life temporarily subside, creating space for deeper truths to surface. Numerous spiritual traditions specifically identify this early morning window as the hour of awakening, the divine hour, or the spiritual hour. In many cultures, it's widely believed to be the moment when the separation between physical and spiritual dimensions reaches its thinnest point. This means that energy flows more freely between realms, and messages, insights, and emotions that normally remain hidden beneath conscious awareness can emerge not as unwelcome disturbances, but as meaningful signs and guidance. According to these traditional beliefs, awakening during this time is never merely coincidental. It represents an invitation or calling. Some traditions describe it as a direct communication from the universe, a gentle nudge from your higher self, or a sacred moment when your soul seeks expression and the external world has become quiet enough to allow that expression to be heard. Have you ever noticed that your thoughts and perceptions feel qualitatively different during these early morning hours? They often appear more authentic, more transparent, and more profound. The social masks and psychological defenses we maintain during waking hours dissolve at 4 a.m. There's a raw honesty to this time, no pretense, no filters, just pure truth. This truth might manifest as a thought you've been consciously avoiding, a dream you've neglected pursuing, or an emotion you've suppressed for far too long. In spiritual communities worldwide, the hours between 3 and 5 a.m. are considered optimal for prayer, meditation, and contemplative practices. It's when countless spiritual masters, monks, yogis, and contemplatives begin their daily practices, not merely to discipline the physical body, but to align the spiritual self with higher consciousness. They believe the energetic quality during these hours possesses unique properties, purer, calmer, and more receptive to spiritual connection. When you consciously engage with this distinctive stillness, something transformative often occurs. You begin reconnecting with your authentic essence beneath the accumulated layers of social conditioning and daily pressures. If you consistently wake during these hours, spiritual traditions suggest it may indicate that your soul is actively seeking attention and expression. Perhaps there's an aspect of your authentic self that has been neglected, a dream that has been silenced by practical concerns, or a life path you're meant to explore but haven't yet acknowledged or embraced. These quiet pre-dawn hours could represent your personal gateway to profound healing, accelerated growth, and deeper self-understanding, while initially disorienting or frustrating to wake when the world remains asleep. Many spiritual teachings propose that these moments represent some of the most potentially transformative experiences available to us. The initial discomfort isn't the message itself, but rather the doorway to the true message waiting to be discovered. What might your inner wisdom be attempting to communicate? What patterns keep recurring in your life experiences? What lesson or insight is trying to reach your conscious awareness? Because the soul rarely waits for convenient timing to deliver its most important messages. It speaks when conditions are optimal for genuine reception and integration, and frequently, that optimal moment arrives between 3 and 5 in the morning, when external distractions have temporarily subsided. If you find yourself awake during the 3 to 5 a.m. window, the first powerful practice you can implement is surprisingly simple yet profoundly effective. Engage in reflective journaling within this unique space where external noise has disappeared. Your mind has opened, and your heart becomes more accessible. This represents a rare opportunity when you're temporarily freed from distractions, obligations, and social expectations. You're simply present with your authentic self. Begin by paying careful attention to your immediate feelings and thoughts. Resist the urge to immediately reach for your phone or check notifications. Instead, remain still and present for a few moments. Gently ask yourself, why might I be awake right now? What's currently occupying my thoughts? What emotions am I carrying within me at this moment? Often, the answers lie just beneath the surface of conscious awareness, waiting for this special silence to bring them into full recognition. This represents your opportunity to meet these insights directly and honestly. Now, as we prepare to explore the second powerful practice for these sacred early morning hours, let's consider how this time might be offering you something far more valuable than uninterrupted sleep. Perhaps it's offering you a direct line to your deepest wisdom, creative inspiration, or spiritual guidance that simply cannot reach you during the noise and busyness of your waking hours. The sacred hour, transforming your 3 a.m. awakening. As we've just discovered, those mysterious awakenings between 3 and 5 a.m. aren't random sleep disturbances, but potentially profound moments of connection with your deepest self. Now, let's explore exactly what to do when you find yourself awake during this sacred window of time. When you find yourself awake in those quiet pre-dawn hours, after acknowledging your thoughts and feelings, grab a notebook or even just a simple piece of paper and begin to write. Don't worry about crafting a perfect narrative or structured entry. Simply allow whatever thoughts are present to flow onto the page. It might be a persistent thought that keeps circling in your mind, a dream that felt unusually vivid or significant, a fear that's been quietly growing beneath your awareness, or perhaps an unexpected sense of peace that you can't fully explain. Remember, you're not writing for an audience or seeking perfection. You're seeking honest expression of what's truly present within you at this moment. The profound power of writing during these hours lies in its ability to transform nebulous, abstract thoughts into something tangible and concrete, something you can examine, understand, and ultimately grow from. Dreams, in particular, often carry special significance when they occur during this window. If you've awakened from a dream, capture its details as completely as possible before they fade. Don't be concerned if the imagery or narrative seems nonsensical or fragmented initially. When reviewed over time, patterns often emerge, revealing messages or insights your subconscious mind is attempting to communicate through symbolic language. Have you noticed how emotions seem to rise with unusual clarity and intensity during these quiet hours? Without the distractions and defenses of daytime consciousness, your authentic feelings often surface with remarkable honesty. You might find yourself writing about emotional experiences or realizations you didn't even know were within you. Perhaps unresolved resentment, unexpected hope, lingering regret, unacknowledged longing, or profound gratitude. Allow all of these emotions to flow freely onto the page. This is your completely private, sacred space for truth-telling without judgment or consequence. Journaling during these special hours isn't merely about unburdening your mind of troublesome thoughts. It's about discovering aspects of yourself, your relationships, and your life journey that remain hidden during your busy waking hours, the insights you unconsciously suppress, the quiet truths that can't compete with the noise of daily demands. How often during your regular day do you truly listen to your innermost voice? This pre-dawn journaling creates that rare opportunity for deep self-connection. Many people report that within these handwritten pages, they unexpectedly encounter precisely the answer or insight they've been consciously seeking, a solution to a persistent problem, a fresh creative approach to a challenge, or simply a clearer understanding of their authentic needs and desires. Those who maintain this practice consistently describe feeling noticeably lighter afterward, experiencing greater inner peace and mental clarity. This isn't coincidental or imaginary. It represents genuine psychological integration taking place as fragmented thoughts coalesce into meaningful patterns. Have you ever noticed how problems that seem overwhelming and insurmountable in the darkness of your racing thoughts often appear more manageable once externalized onto paper? What previously felt confusing or chaotic frequently begins to reveal its underlying order and meaning when expressed through writing. Even capturing just a single sentence or insight can significantly shift your emotional state and perspective on a situation. Free, so the next time you find yourself awake while the world around you sleeps, try reframing this experience. Rather than viewing it as lost sleep or wasted time, see it as a rare gift, an invitation to connect with parts of yourself that can only speak when external noise subsides. Open a blank page, Allow your pen to move without censorship or judgment, and give your inner wisdom the space it needs to emerge. Some of your most profound insights and transformative realizations are already within you, patiently waiting for these quiet moments to make themselves known. After you've reflected and recorded your thoughts through journaling, the second powerful practice to engage in during these early morning hours is meditation or prayer. This isn't about following rigid religious protocols or performing elaborate spiritual rituals. It's about establishing a genuine connection with your authentic self, with inner peace, with something larger than your individual experience. These pre-dawn hours offer an ideal environment for turning inward and listening deeply. Not to the external world, but to the profound silence that exists within you. Meditation doesn't require complicated techniques or special equipment. You don't need incense, mantras, or perfect lotus posture to benefit from this practice. Simply close your eyes, breathe deeply and deliberately, and become fully present in this moment. Feel the rhythm of your breath as it enters and leaves your body. Notice the sensations throughout your physical form. Allow thoughts to arise and pass without attachment or judgment, simply observing them like clouds moving across the sky of your awareness. With each breath cycle, you'll likely notice your mind gradually becoming more settled and clear. Within this cultivated stillness, remarkable clarity often begins to emerge spontaneously. You might suddenly become aware of emotions you didn't realize you were carrying, perhaps tension you've been holding in your shoulders for weeks, or anxiety about an upcoming event that's been affecting your sleep without your conscious recognition. You might experience sudden insight into a situation that seemed confusing or overwhelming just hours earlier. These moments of clarity aren't random coincidences. They represent your natural mindfulness revealing what was already present, but obscured by the noise and pace of daily life. For those who connect with a spiritual tradition or higher power, these quiet hours provide an especially conducive environment for prayer. Speak from your heart with complete authenticity. There's no need for formal language or prescribed prayers, just honest expression of whatever you're genuinely experiencing. Whether that's gratitude, confusion, pain, or hope, you can voice these prayers aloud or silently within your mind. Either way, these heartfelt communications carry particular potency during this uniquely receptive time when external distractions have temporarily subsided and the connection between your conscious awareness and deeper reality feels more immediate and accessible. Spiritual teachers and mystics across diverse traditions have long recognized this time period as especially conducive for divine connection. Many believe this is when your personal energy naturally aligns most harmoniously with universal consciousness or divine presence. Whether you conceptualize this alignment as communion with God, source energy, universal intelligence, or simply your own deeper truth, the fundamental principle remains consistent. This is when you're most likely to perceive and receive the guidance and insights that truly matter for your life journey. Even dedicating just 5 minutes to sitting in attentive silence, practicing focused breathing, or whispering a heartfelt prayer can profoundly transform your mental and emotional state. These practices measurably reduce stress hormones, lower anxiety levels, and improved overall emotional regulation. Beyond these physiological benefits, they reconnect you with your authentic center, your true self beneath the accumulated layers of social conditioning, external expectations, and habitual patterns. In a world that constantly fragments your attention and pulls you in countless directions simultaneously, these quiet moments of spiritual connection become an essential anchor for your well-being. Have you ever wondered why virtually every contemplative tradition, whether Buddhist, Christian, Hindu, Sufi, or indigenous spiritual practices, places special emphasis on pre-dawn spiritual practice? There's a universal recognition that the energetic quality of these hours offers something uniquely conducive to inner work. The physical environment itself supports deeper awareness. The air feels still and pure. External sounds have subsided, and the usual frenetic pace of life has temporarily paused. There's no pressure to perform, no expectations to meet, no roles to fulfill, just you in authentic communion with your deepest essence. You don't need to consider yourself especially spiritual or have years of meditation experience to benefit from these practices. You don't need to achieve perfect stillness or mystical states of consciousness. You simply need to show up with presence, humility, and openness, allowing whatever emerges to be received without judgment or expectation. The very act of making this time sacred through your intention and attention is itself transformative. When you establish meditation or prayer as a regular practice during these early morning awakenings, you'll likely begin to notice significant changes extending far beyond improved sleep patterns. Many people report experiencing greater groundedness throughout their day, enhanced focus and clarity in decision-making, and a stronger connection to what truly matters in their lives. Problems that previously seemed overwhelming often appear more manageable when viewed through this expanded perspective. Your sense of purpose and meaning frequently strengthens as superficial concerns naturally fall away. Most importantly, the peace you cultivate during these quiet hours doesn't disappear with sunrise. It becomes an internal resource you carry with you throughout your day. So if you ever find yourself awake while the world around you sleeps, consider this an invitation to journey inward, because the answers and insights you're seeking in external sources, books, experts, or endless internet searches are often already present within you, patiently waiting in the silence to be discovered and integrated into your conscious awareness. Once you've engaged in reflection through journaling and spent time in contemplative stillness through meditation or prayer, the third powerful practice is to gently reconnect your body with your breath through mindful movement. One of the simplest yet most effective approaches is through gentle stretching or specific breathing exercises. This isn't about engaging in vigorous exercise or anything physically demanding. Rather, it's about calming your nervous system and guiding your body back into a receptive state of rest and restoration. When you wake during these early morning hours, your physical body might still be holding tension from dream states, unprocessed emotions, or accumulated stress from the previous day. Gentle stretching can effectively release this stored tension. Try standing slowly beside your bed or even remaining seated on its edge while mindfully moving your neck. shoulders, arms, and back through their natural range of motion. These gentle movements stimulate circulation without triggering the heightened alertness that more vigorous exercise would produce. Remember, your goal isn't to energize your system, but rather to soothe and settle it. Perhaps the most powerful practice during this time is conscious, intentional breathing. Begin by placing one hand on your chest and the other on your abdomen to increase your awareness of your breath's pathway through your body. Then slowly inhale through your nose for a count of 4, allowing your abdomen to expand fully. Hold this breath gently for a count of 4, and then exhale slowly through your mouth for an extended count of 6. Feeling your abdomen naturally contract, repeat this rhythmic breathing pattern several times, and you'll likely begin to notice your body responding positively, your heart rate gradually slowing, mental activity becoming less frenetic, and muscular tension progressively releasing. This type of deep, mindful breathing directly communicates to your nervous system that you're safe and secure, effectively deactivating the fight or flight response that might have been triggered by a disturbing dream or anxious thought. If you prefer an even simpler approach, simply sitting quietly with closed eyes while focusing your complete attention on the natural rhythm of your inhalations and exhalations can produce remarkably calming effects on both body and mind. Another effective technique many find helpful is called box breathing, a method used by elite military units. High-performance athletes and meditation practitioners alike inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and then pause for 4 seconds before beginning the next cycle. This balanced respiratory rhythm helps regulate your autonomic nervous system and induces a state of calm alertness that paradoxically makes returning to sleep easier. Some people also discover that gentle walking within their bedroom or simply swaying side to side while standing helps shift stagnant energy and release physical tension. Remember that your intention isn't to become more awake or alert. You're simply providing your body with the movement it needs to release tension and reset its systems. The gentle movement serves as a physical reset, while conscious breathing provides emotional and mental soothing. The profound connection between body and mind means that when your physical form experiences safety and relaxation, your mental state naturally follows suit, and when your mind softens its vigilance and racing thoughts, sleep becomes not something to struggle for, but rather a natural state that returns organically. After just a few minutes of these mindful movement and breathing practices, you may notice a natural drowsiness beginning to return, your body's signal that it has processed what it needed to and is ready to resume restful sleep. This gentle, natural return to sleep typically proves far more restorative than the frustrated tossing and turning that comes from fighting against wakefulness or becoming anxious about lost sleep time. So if you ever find yourself unexpectedly alert during these pre-dawn hours, remember not to react with alarm or frustration. Instead, allow your breath to become your guide and permit your body the gentle movement it craves. These simple somatic practices can transform what might initially feel like unwelcome wakefulness into a healing interlude that actually enhances the quality of your subsequent sleep. Your physical environment plays a crucial role in both your overall sleep quality and your ability to return to sleep after waking during these early morning hours. Your immediate surroundings can either support mental calm and physical relaxation or inadvertently keep your system alert and restless. If you regularly find yourself awake between 3 and 5 a.m., creating a space that actively promotes rest rather than stimulation becomes essential to your well-being. Begin by considering the light in your sleep environment. Darkness serves as a powerful signal to your brain that it's time for sleep and rest. Even relatively minor light sources, the glow from electronic devices, digital clocks, or light seeping in from hallways or windows, can disrupt your body's production of melatonin and confuse your internal circadian clock. When you wake during these early hours, resist the urge to turn on bright overhead lights. If you need some visibility to move safely or write in your journal, use only a dim night light or soft lamp with warm-toned, low-intensity illumination. This minimal lighting helps maintain your body's sleep-ready stage rather than triggering full wakefulness. Keep your window coverings fully closed, particularly as dawn approaches. Consider investing in blackout curtains or shades if external light pollution from street lights or early sunrise is affecting your sleep environment. The complete darkness these create can make a remarkable difference in both your ability to fall asleep initially and return to sleep after early morning awakenings. Sound quality represents another critical factor in your sleep environment. Even subtle ambient noises, the hum of electronic devices, distant traffic, or household systems like heating and cooling, can disrupt your sleep cycles without fully waking you, leading to that feeling of being tired despite seemingly adequate sleep hours. Creating a consistently quiet sleep space helps prevent these micro-disruptions. If complete silence feels uncomfortable or if environmental noise is unavoidable, consider using consistent background sounds like a fan, white noise machine, or gentle nature recordings to mask unpredictable disturbances. The key element here is consistency. Sound patterns that remain steady and predictable rather than sudden or variable noises that might startle your nervous system into alertness. This acoustic consistency creates a protective sound envelope that helps shield your sleep from disruption. Temperature regulation plays a surprisingly significant role in sleep quality that many people overlook. Your body naturally experiences a slight drop in core temperature as part of its preparation for sleep. If your bedroom environment is too warm, this natural cooling process becomes impaired, potentially disrupting your sleep architecture. Sleep experts typically recommend maintaining your sleep environment between 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 19 degrees Celsius, slightly cooler than most people keep their living spaces during waking hours. This temperature range optimally supports your body's natural melatonin production and sleep-promoting processes. If you find your bedding too heavy or the air quality stuffy, consider using lighter weight, breathable bedding materials and introducing fresh air circulation through slightly opened windows or appropriate ventilation. The feeling of gentle air movement can itself be soothing for many sleepers. Consider comfort in its broadest sense when evaluating your sleep environment. Does your mattress provide proper support for your specific body type and sleep position preferences? Are your sheets and bedding made from breathable, natural materials that don't trap excessive heat or moisture? Have you eliminated potential irritants from your sleep space? Things like clutter that create subconscious stress, harsh chemical scents from cleaning products, or allergens that might trigger subtle respiratory discomfort. Each of these elements contributes to creating a true sleep sanctuary, a space your body and mind recognize as safe, comfortable, and conducive to deep restoration. Perhaps most critically in our modern world, avoid all electronic screens when you wake during these hours. This represents one of the most challenging habits to break for many people. Yet it's absolutely essential for healthy sleep patterns. The specific blue light wavelengths emitted by phones, tablets, computers, and televisions directly suppress your body's melatonin production and signal to your brain that it's time to be awake and alert. Even briefly checking the time on your phone can trigger anxiety about how much sleep you're losing or initiate a cascade of mental activity that makes returning to sleep significantly more difficult. When you wake during these early hours and feel the habitual urge to reach for your device, consciously redirect that impulse. Instead, remain in the calm darkness. Engage in the journaling, meditation, or gentle movement practices we've discussed, and trust in your body's natural ability to return to sleep when provided the right conditions. By creating a sleep environment that is consistently dark, quiet, comfortably cool, and free from electronic distractions, you're not merely addressing immediate sleep challenges, you're establishing a powerful foundation for long-term sleep health. These environmental adjustments, practiced consistently night after night, create a powerful conditioning effect where your body and mind learn to associate your bedroom with peace, safety, and deep restoration. This psychological association becomes stronger over time, making both initial sleep and return to sleep after awakening progressively easier and more natural. These mysterious awakenings between 3 and 5 a.m. might initially appear as unwelcome disruptions to your rest, but as we've discovered throughout this exploration, they often represent something far more significant, a doorway into deeper self-awareness, a quiet interlude where life's constant motion temporarily pauses, inviting you to connect with something profound within yourself, whether triggered by physiological stress responses, subconscious processing, or spiritual awakening. These early morning hours hold special potential for those willing to approach them with curiosity rather than frustration. Instead of fighting against these awakenings through tossing and turning or feeling annoyed at lost sleep, consider embracing this time as a gift, an opportunity for reflection through journaling, for stillness through meditation or prayer, for physical release through gentle movement and conscious breathing. Allow these practices to transform what might seem like an inconvenient disruption into a sacred ritual for healing, clarity, and inner peace, a special window where mental chatter subsides and your authentic essence can emerge more clearly. These pre-dawn awakenings need not be experiences to fear or resist. With the practices we've explored, They can become powerful catalysts for personal growth, emotional processing, and spiritual connection. The quiet darkness that once felt isolating can transform into a cherished sanctuary for your deepest inner work. If you've experienced these mysterious early morning awakenings, or if you implement these practices and notice positive changes in your relationship with sleep and self-awareness, I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Your experience might provide exactly the insight or encouragement someone else needs on their journey. And if you found value in this exploration of the sacred hours between 3 and 5 a.m., please support our continued work by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos on conscious living, spiritual growth, and holistic well-being. Together, we're creating a community of seekers committed to transforming life's challenges, even disrupted sleep, into opportunities for deeper awakening and authentic living.